Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Hot Flashes and Cool Chats. So, I started these conversations because through my work as a midlife concierge and building my community, Mamas in Menopause, I am meeting amazing people who are passionate about supporting women in midlife. So, I started this chat series as a way for me to introduce them to you. You can hear their stories, you get to know them personally. You learn about their products, services, and the resources they offer to make this season of life a little brighter, a little easier, and more empowering. So today I want to welcome Jennifer Rizzotti. She is a career and small business coach who helps women navigate transitions, discover their strengths, and design careers and businesses that truly fit who they are, especially in midlife. Her work is all about empowering women to reconnect with their purpose, gain clarity, and take confident steps, whether that means re-entering the workforce, pivoting careers, or launching something new. So I wanted to welcome Jennifer and thank you so much for chatting with me. You have been a personal resource for me because, as I said, I was pivoted in your intro. I pivoted careers and I'm launching something new all in the same time. So you've been a really amazing personal resource for me. So I'm excited to share who you are with my audience and introduce you. So tell us a little bit about you and how you support women in midlife.
Well, thanks, Meredith, for the kind introduction. It's a true pleasure to be here today chatting about career changes in midlife. And thank you for building this truly amazing community. I'm so grateful we met and for the resources you're generously making available to all women and individuals navigating this really important chapter. My name is Jennifer Rizzotti, and I'm a career coach, truly on a mission to help women design intentional, deliberate careers where they can enjoy that autonomy, flexibility, freedom, and purpose. That's what we all want, right? We want to also have control over our time, like complete control over our time. So that's really important to me and to most of my clients as well. I specialize in career transitions, and these may span from returning to work after a pause. Sometimes that pause is 6 months, sometimes it's 20 plus years. These women are going back to a workforce that has totally different than it was when they left. I also help women navigate pivots, like you talked about, kind of changing jobs, changing directions, and stepping into entrepreneurship. The majority of my clients do go on to launch a business of their own because, again, they value that time and control over their time. And really, entrepreneurship for most women becomes the kind of the next chapter, especially in midlife. My
Yeah.
goal is really to just help women, as you said, find work that fits with their life and not the other way around.
It's so true because you think about this, and I think this time of life, it's really about feeling aligned. And a lot of us, for me, and I talk about this often, my career shifted for me. And there's so many times that I kept looking in the rearview mirror behind me saying, okay, let me get back, let me get back. But it wasn't until I really realized that this is a totally different time in my life, and it is okay to now shift and do something different. And it's scary and part of the reason I worked with you is I didn't know what I don't know. So as I was going from a corporate world into, like you're saying, an entrepreneur type of role, there's a lot that I need to know. There's a lot I need to learn. And I think mindset really is a big part of that. So I know you supported me, so I'd love to hear a little bit about, how you really talk women through when they're in this kind of crossroads with
Yeah,
themselves.
sure. I think you have the $1 million word right there, Meredith, which is mindset. I always tell my clients it starts in their head. It starts up here. And my whole method, the first pillar of that is mindset. We kind of get control of that because once you can see the path or once you see the possibilities, the actions become clear, the goals become clear, how you spend your time and how you allocate your time toward those, goals, it becomes clear. So really it starts, you have to be able to see it. And I know vision and everything is a part of kind of every many career paths and many well, sort of many jobs, right? You have to kind of have that vision of where you're headed. But for women especially, we get a little stuck. And I think it's because up until midlife, at least for me, the steps were clear, right? Maybe you went to college,
Yes.
maybe you had a family, got married, bought a house, checked the boxes, and then you started caring for your parents or, so there is this kind of like clear cut for a lot of women. Like this is the road we traveled. And then you reach midlife and you're like, okay, what do I value during this season of my life? And I really coach women to have a values-based approach to where they're headed so they understand that what I used to do, what I used to do, it no longer fits my life. So there is this element of you can revisit your career during every season because we do value our time differently, and that impacts our career, as well
Mm.
as things happen for women. We might have to stay home and care for a parent, a spouse, a child, and have to take those breaks, from work. And that can be a real challenge to overcome. So there's a lot of reasons that mindset plays in, but you do kind of have to keep picking yourself back up and seeing the road forward. And that can be really hard. A lot of my clients get really, really stuck at this stage in life because, as I said, it was
Mm,
clear up until now. And now what? The second half of my
yeah.
life is looming, and I have no idea, where to begin. So that's really where
Yeah.
I come in.
It's so true. And you talk about checklists, and I feel like you're so right. The checklist that we used to take and check off, and this exactly what I need to do. It pivots and it shifts. So it's almost like our whole world is changing. Our process is changing. And the checklist that used to serve us, we're looking at this and we're like, I'm checking these boxes. I'm checking these boxes, but it's not working. So it really is taking a look at those checklists and maybe editing those a little bit more. I'm a very action-oriented person. So for me, checklists are really good. So I love that you said checklist, but I want to know what the right things on my checklist need to do. Otherwise, I feel like I'm checking off boxes and checking off boxes and not getting anywhere. So I love that you, for me, were really able to provide me with very actionable things that I could do to check off my list now, because these are the things that serve me. So I just want to let you know that was something for me because I'm like a very systems and process oriented kind of person. I love that you said checklist. So what would you say for some of these women that just feel stuck, like I was feeling very stuck? I needed my checklist, but I didn't know I needed the new checklist. What do you say for women that just feel stuck?
Yeah, I think it's sort of when you work with a coach or any resource, really, it could be a friend, it could be a family member. The goal of getting unstuck is kind of take everything that's swirling, and that's where the overwhelm comes in, right? We have all these things swirling in our head, like my business goals, my life goals, my family stuff is going on. And it's like women, especially that mental load. I mean, we talk about it so much now, and I'm so glad we have vocabulary for this because it's like we understand like we are carrying so much that it can be really hard to prioritize ourselves. But I always say, like, when you finally say no to somebody else or no to another priority, that means it's a yes for you. And I think
Mm,
my goal is to kind of empower women with those yeses, because we can just kind of get caught up in that overwhelm. And as you mentioned, I'm kind of this tangible person. I really want to take everything up here and kind of bring it down, and commit to like a strategic plan on paper and say, here's some of the things you can do to get unstuck. I have no shortage of seeing possibilities. I see a lot of roads. People joke I'm like the GPS, the Siri. Like you say, this is where I want to go, and I see like all these roads to get there. But the client, they don't actually see them. There is this blockage. I
mm,
think most of the time it's confidence, fear, all the things that come in, imposter syndrome. There's a lot of reasons that my clients get stuck, and they
yeah,
just approach me in the state of overwhelm. But to get unstuck, we kind of start to look at those possibilities, and I can say, hey, here's a few different roads you could travel. They pick the road. They say, oh, that actually sparks something in me, right? I feel like this is intuitively, this is the way I should go. We go down that road and start to put the pieces into play. And really, it's just a process of discovery. And I think giving women the space, and I hold that space for them to rediscover, because we think it's okay to, explore in our careers in our 20s. But by the time we're in our 40s and 50s, we've kind of lost that element of discovery. And I really
yeah.
want to help women regain that, because that's how you find something that's purposeful to you. I don't know what that outcome will be, but it's really helping you get in touch with your own wisdom and get unstuck.
Yeah. Yeah, you're so right. Because I think at this point, we think that we should have achieved our goal. We should be there. We should be on the way down, the mountain. When so many people have told me I was the most successful in my life after 50. So we really need to embrace that. And what I love about what you said, that GPS and those paths, you're so right because you have this vision. You can see a couple different ways, a couple different strategies. Where for me, maybe I'm just thinking this is my only one way, and I just keep, falling over all the rocks and the trails so bumpy. Where you can say, well, you have a bumpy road, but you also have a smooth road, and you also have a curvy road. But it's up to you on how you want to get there. So that's fantastic, and I love that you frame it like that because I think it really puts a picture in our mind that number one, things don't have to be done one way.
No,
Um, and it is your time that you get to choose. You are empowered to choose that path. It's kind of like when we're kids and we're playing the Mad Libs and the all those old games where you have the different
Yeah. It is
words that
just
you
for
can
it.
put in, and then
Yeah.
the story changes depending on your day and what your input is in that point of your life. So I love that so much.
You just gave me an
Um,
idea, Meredith. Maybe that should be one of my lead magnets on my website is like download my Mad Libs for your career because it is like what you put in there
mm,
kind of rewrites the story. And your career journey, it is just a narrative, and we can rewrite the narrative in the past so you feel a little bit better about how your career has gone to this point. A lot of people lack
yeah,
confidence in how they feel bad about how how the journey has come to this point, and then they're faced with, well, I only want to work 10 or 15 more years. They really want to be so mindful about it. But I love that idea of Mad Libs, and maybe you've inspired something that I
yeah.
can use as a tool to help my clients get
Oh
unstuck.
my God. I
Love it.
love it. And you just said something that popped out of my brain because of course it is menopause brain, but that's okay. I can't remember it now. And I really want to remember it was such a really good point, but this happens. This happens in our life. Okay, so we're talking about our careers and our past and telling the story. Um, I want to know, like, what is the best way, like when you're working with clients, there's a variety of different ways that you work with them, whether in person or virtually. So what is a combination that you tend to work with women?
Yeah, so typically I meet women for the first time over Zoom or in person. I do have kind of an in-person option as well as Zoom, right? So virtually we connect just so you can kind of see me face to face. I'm a real person. This is who I am, and just see if there's that connection. If I'm not the right coach for you, I probably maybe know someone I can refer you to because there is this chemistry element of you want a coach that kind of is like, I'm very methodical. I'm all about action steps. I'm not all about the talk. It's not theory. It's really practical. And I'm really like, here's what we're going to do. Here's the homework. It's always optional, but here's here's the steps that we kind of outline because I want to keep you moving forward. So that's the goal is just that momentum, getting unstuck and then building momentum and then continuing that momentum and sustaining it. So that's kind of how I operate. So yes, that's kind of typically what I do. Once we've established a relationship, if there's a go forward, usually we meet over the phone and there's kind of research that suggests it activates a different part of your brain, sort of like you're on camera versus being in person, or when you write on a piece of paper versus typing, like it does actually, activate a different path in your brain. So I find when I'm
Mm,
coaching over the phone, there is this allowance for women to really focus and deeply focus on themselves. It allows me to deeply listen as well. And we can just be more present to the coaching conversation. I don't want women to
right.
feel that pressure of the camera. Like this is not a job interview. This is your time. And most of my clients prefer that phone option because they can walk their dog or get some movement in, or just kind of
Right.
focus and not feel like they have to be, they're not here to perform. It's not performative. It's like you're here for
Yeah.
you. So most of my clients do end up being old school. We're old school, right?
Yeah.
It's maybe our generation, but it's the phone is really, really beneficial. And I think there's some science behind it too. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I do a lot of my first phone calls in particular on the phone because I think the same way. It's very, I don't want a barrier of entry. I don't want someone to
Right.
feel like I can't be driving. I'm so busy. I got to be driving my kids or work, coming home from work or whatever they're doing. You don't want them to feel like, oh, I have to be rushed to jump on the Zoom. And then when I do get on Zoom, how do I look? Am I looking at myself the
Yeah,
whole
I don't, yeah.
time?
We don't need that.
It just needs to be a real conversation. I love it. I am going to go back because my brain did remember
Oh,
what
good.
I was going to talk to you about.
I love it.
And we were talking, you were saying something about when they're rejoining the workforce, whether that is after kids, which I did as well, or after some kind of pause, I guess, in your career. And you have to go back and think about what are these skills and what are the things that we have that make us who we are. And by working with someone like you, I think it really allows somebody to have this open dialogue and say, okay, let's think about this. You don't think you're as interesting,
Hmm.
empowering. You sit there and like, why am I in this place? So you're almost like mindset stuck in this one place. But when you're working with you, you're able to open up the doors a little bit and say, okay, great. Well, you were a leader and you did this and you manage, and you're able to take some of the skills that we had from previous jobs or even from parenting or anything and apply that to the workforce where we naturally wouldn't go there. So I don't know if that even leads to anything to a new question that I had, but it really was when you said that, it really resonated with me that it's so true. It's redefining and rethinking the strengths that we have and how it's going to work for us moving forward into the job force or into building your own business where you don't think you're good enough, you've got what it takes.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely, your experience always serves you. And people tell me, Jen, they come to me, they're like, I have no resume. I've been home with my kids. They actually don't have, I'm like, oh, we're going to write you a resume, right? And because I don't think people understand, they don't value the skills that they just do automatically. Like, and we all do things like that. I used to do resumes and I'd help people write college admissions essays like for free because I just did it because I enjoyed it. But that actually is my job now, to getting, so it's the things we kind of do that come easy for us. They actually don't
Yeah.
come easy for everyone else. And those skills actually become our resume builders and boosters. And so for most women who kind of struggle with that, it's getting out of your own way. And I love reframing things for my clients because my job is to really observe. And when you have someone like me, you're like, you don't actually know me. You met a couple of times, but I just tell it like I see it. And I observe like, well, here's all these kind of things you've described to me. And these women who say, because it happens often, I didn't work, for 10 or 15 years. I've been home with my kids. And then they tell me what they've been doing. I'm like, well, tell me a little more about what you've been doing. And they're like, well, I was the president of the PTA and I launched a couple of nonprofits for my mom's groups and I do all the social media for all these groups. And they're all involved in leadership on all these boards. And I'm thinking, first of all, just because it's unpaid doesn't mean it doesn't count as experience. And I think that's a real big thing for my clients to
Mm.
realize. It's just because I didn't earn money for all the things I was doing, it doesn't make it any less valuable of experience. And by the way, that's the stuff we do put on your resume. And that's all
Yeah.
very valuable experience. So I think women just need to get in the art of like reframing. Putting money in it doesn't necessarily make it more valuable. Like your time, your experience is valuable and enough regardless of whether or not it was paid. And I think that's a huge eye opener for a lot of women. Is they're like, I can put it on my LinkedIn if it wasn't like a paid job. Absolutely you can, and we will. And we kind
Yeah.
of craft that story of like, what are you all about, and what skills
Yeah.
can we transfer to the next thing. So absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's
it
a
really
great.
brings that confidence because I think you're right. You have this thought process, well, it wasn't a paid job and this, that, but when it's rewritten for you and now it's look and you're like, wow, I did so much and I am valuable and I am going to, find this fantastic opportunity, whatever it might be, and giving yourself that pat on the back and giving yourself that confidence. Because again, going back to mindset,
Yeah.
now you're unstoppable because you believe you're unstoppable.
And we're so critical, women, generally. I think as we approach midlife, for me, it got a lot easier. I became a lot more confident. I was confident more in myself, my capabilities, my adaptability, because I've done it before. And I'm like, I know I can do it again. So there is this, for me, gift of midlife, which is more confidence, less fear, just based on experience. But I think all of those things that you kind of describe, once women see it differently, you can't unsee
Mhm.
it, right? So you're like, okay, I just need to be a little more objective in my experience and maybe think about what Jen would see or what a friend would see if you were kind of looking at your experience. You have to really be an observer and be
Mhm.
very less critical of
Yeah.
ourselves, a little more compassionate, so be that
Yeah.
compassionate voice and kind of look at things from a new lens, and it's really empowering.
Yeah, I agree. And I cannot tell you, it's just so valuable for me. And it just allowed me to working with you, see myself in a very different way and give myself permission to take that chance, take that risk. And again, like I said, give myself that little checklist that I need. When you're working with someone that is a checklist person,
Yeah.
give me that checklist, give me that homework because that homework will get done because that's what I like.
One of the magic of coaching, yes, the accountability part of coaching is important. Like if you're someone who likes to have a trainer and have like set on the calendar, but that's how, people move forward faster with coaching and with any support, really. You need to get
Yeah.
that support for yourself in whatever form. But as we kind
Mhm.
of approach that midlife, you kind of said something that resonated for me there about, that impending time, right? Like how much remaining time we have, it becomes more clear. So I think that, recognition, like time is our really most precious and non-renewable resource, right? We can always make more money. We can always get a new job, but we cannot, manufacture more time. So I think that perspective of midlife, it's very much like, okay, I want to be intentional about how I spend my time. But then there's this kind of overwhelm, like, what do I do? Like, what is the most
Yeah.
valuable, purposeful? And that's where I really help women, because that becomes another position of you're empowered and then you're overwhelmed again by how to be deliberate and what is
Yeah.
the most best use of my time and the time I have remaining. So just to kind of put
Yeah.
that out there as well, that a lot of women struggle with that in midlife.
And you said support and resources, and I think that's so, so important in this time and this stage because we have it. We're
Yeah.
not doing this alone. And I think that, again, going back to starting this chat series was so when I meet people like you, when I meet people like everyone that has been on my chat series, somebody needs them as
Yeah.
a resource.
Mm-hmm.
And it might not be you today, but it might be someone you know. It might be you tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And just keeping in mind that, oh, yeah, Meredith brought on someone that did this, did that. I'm going to go back and I'm going to get that contact information. So speaking of contacting you, before we wrap up, what's the best way for women to connect with you and learn more about your coaching programs and different offerings that you have?
Yeah, well, the best way to connect with me is honestly just send me an email or send me a text. I'll include my contact information in the show notes because I want to jump on a quick call, at least 15, 20 minutes, and just kind of hear from you, kind of get an understanding of what are the challenges you're facing now. And is something, is coaching something that could maybe help you? So that's always complimentary. I always put that out there. Like, don't be afraid to ask for help. And also, like, maybe ask for resources. Maybe I can point you to a program or a free resource in that direction as well. So don't be afraid to reach out. I also am on LinkedIn, Instagram at Jennifer Rizzotti, LinkedIn at Jennifer Rizzotti, my website, jenniferrizzotti.com. So we'll put all of that in the show notes. But really, I want people to send me an email, send me a text so we can just jump on a call. That's really the best way
Yeah.
to reach out to me and how I operate.
Yeah, don't be afraid to get started, to take action. Take
And most
action.
people
That's
don't
what we
take that
need.
first step. And that's where, 90% of the hard work is that really that first step. So take that first step.
Mm. Love it, love it, love it. So thank you. I want to, thank you for joining me on Hot Flashes and Cool Chats. And I'm so grateful for you sharing your time and your expertise and, of course, your wisdom today. Your your unique gifted talents are really supporting us women. So we're so thankful for that. And
Well, Meredith, thank you. And
yeah,
thank you for building a midlife village. I just feel so grateful, like I
yeah,
said, to be in the village, be a part of it, have the resources and access to you and just all the amazing women I meet. I feel like we do better in community and that we're such a supportive community that it just makes me feel very empowered for this next chapter that I'm facing as well. So thank you for all the work
yeah.
you're putting out
Thank
there.
you. Thank you so much. I mean, I'm loving it. And like you were saying, when you find something that is something that you've just naturally been doing and you're able to then build some kind of business on that, it just feels so aligned and so authentic. So I appreciate you allowing me to, get to that path and find that one GPS pathway that felt
Yeah,
the most right to
I
me.
love
So
it.
yeah.
Strong
But thank you.
visual, but it's totally accurate. Totally accurate. You pick the road. I'm just, in the passenger seat, but it's just, change the ending, right? You can't change the beginning, but you can change the road that you end up on. So I think that's the message. Well, thank you for
That's
your
powerful.
time. This was a
That's
pleasure.
so powerful. Thank you so much. And then if anyone wants to, reach out, of course, like we said, everything will be in the show notes. So you'll get a hold of Jennifer and be able to connect with her by email, take that first step. But until next time, I wanted to remind everyone that you are not alone on this midlife journey. We're all on it together. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for allowing me to share my resources with you, I should say. And here's to more hot flashes, cool chats, and meaningful connections. Bye, everyone.